you guys doing? Next YouTube video for Do-It-Yourself-Fix-It channel. I'm trying to put up some videos as I can, little by little, what I feel was important to others. One of the major things I feel is important is shutting off the water. There are different types of valves in different locations, and I'm trying to help point out some of that. Before we get into the images, please understand this is definitely not an end-all be-all by any means whatsoever. I'm not a professional licensed plumber, not like that. I'm 20 years superintendent up north, New York, New Jersey, and now here in the state of Virginia. Okay, a lot of these are very common. They're easy to see, but people don't understand as much as I'm going to point out here. Okay, so again, as we get into the images, this is not an end-all be-all. Please do yourself a favor, get some kind of qualified personnel, whether it be a plumber, handyman, maintenance personnel, help you look at your shut-off valves, or maybe find where the main one is at, in case you just got to shut off the whole location. There's a hot water hose leaking or something, and you're getting nervous. It's gonna save you a lot of time, a lot of damage. Okay, which is what this video is about: saving you time, damage, helping people out. It's not necessarily about pointing out a lot of major points. My favorite type of valve is a ball valve. Not necessarily with this type of setup where it's a shock bite, has teeth in it. You push the pipe in and it locks. Okay, but a lot of people have very great success with this. They find no fuss. They work very good. They usually have certain type of ratings on there, how much pressure they can hold, and what type of pipe they might be used for. This is a more common type you see in most locations, underneath sinks, toilets, in the kitchen, supplying faucets, stuff like that. Okay, this is just the angle shut off. This one uses compression on both sides. This will a quick connect would connect here, 3/8. This is 5/8 OD here. It goes around a 1/2 inch copper pipe, and you have a brass ring there. Use some type of Teflon or pipe dope. Some plumbers use both, just to make it nice and tight. Get a nice tight there, so you have no leaks later on. Depends on your experience. Okay, so those are two different types there. We're gonna take a look at the third different type here. This is a gate valve. Blue usually means cold. Hot supposed to mean red, but not necessarily. Sometimes things happen. Somebody gets in there. That's all the material they have for that particular job. They get called at nighttime. They only have one left. They get you going for the night, and so you're not always going to say, well, this is definitely hot, this is definitely cold. On a pipe system like this, you can just touch it. If it's running, one usually is hotter than the other, especially if you're using the faucet. Okay. You have a gate that goes up and down. Sometimes they're flat, sometimes they're a bar that goes in a groove like this, like a wedge. But then this is a gate valve type, and this one is sweated on, as you notice there with the solder on the 1/2 inch pipe. There's no compression fitting on here. This takes more technical difficulty, and this is not for the average person to install. If someone maintenance who knows what they're doing, a plumber, somebody like that. They got so many new systems out. They're so easy to install now. It's ridiculous. They come in with this plastic PEX pipe and put together, and tool, crib tool, and a ring. And I don't even use that stuff. I'm still kind of old school. I prefer compression. This one, I'm not. There's a rating on there. How many psi? Looks like 200 on there. But this is more what I favor. This style. This is what I'm used to. Yes, I can sweat on valves, but for the average person, it's not suggested. Okay. There's the 5/8 OD that goes around 1/2 inch pipe. If you're gonna go to the store, don't take it for granted, and you take a valve out, take the material with you. Okay, you want to get the right part. Okay, there's the teeth I'm talking about. You see that it goes in a certain direction. Okay. There's a rating on here: PEX copper or CPVC. I'm not sure what CPVC means. Okay, so I'd have to find out what that is, but there is a rating on there. I'm sure you can look it up on the internet or YouTube and tell you what it is. Again, blue is usually for cold, and red is usually for hot. I don't see a rating on here, WOG, which usually stands for water or gas. So if you're taking a valve out like this on gas, again, take it to where you're going. Make sure you get the right one. Gas is very, very particular, very dangerous, and I do not want to put up a video on YouTube on that yet. But later on I will. For now, just water. Okay, this is underneath sink, and again, angle shut off, quarter turn ball valve. No plastic stem here, a white plastic stem or something that can break easier. You see a lot of people put this stuff in. I just don't understanding why they put it in. It's just this other stuff costs relatively little more, and it lasts 10 times longer, and you have less issues with it. This one here does use the shark bite method. If you're going to use shark bite, use a reputable company like Shark Bite or someone reputable. Don't just use any cheapo you see on the line. Usually you can look into a shark bite and look into a cheapo. You can see the amount of teeth are less, and they're wider spread, so they don't grab as tight. Some people in rural areas might have only 50 psi. Other areas might have a higher psi. Most of the areas I worked were above 80 psi. Some of them as high as 90 psi on the water supply coming into the location or locations. Okay, this is just two different ones, hot, cold. Okay, just to give you an idea. This is a braided quick connect where you connect here to the compression side, the 3/8. Okay, and then you connect to your faucet. However, usually we connect to the faucet, and then we'll connect to here. But different people are different. I'll discuss installing these later. But for now, I'd like you people to understand where these valves might be and how to shut off the water. Okay, if it is a lot of turn and it's old, it doesn't want to turn, and you're going to decide to take a wrench to it, I guess the best way I can describe is take a wrench to it and try to turn it. Don't try to just yank it. Okay, forget that. You're going to break it. You're going to have all kind of problems you don't want. Just try to torque a little bit, see if it'll turn. Okay, if it doesn't turn, call somebody. In emergency, on a braided hose, I've been known to take a vice grip with a little gap and pinch this hose. Not try to crush it or destroy it, but pinch it enough to shut off the water. Okay. This is a wash box. You usually see the red and blue style gate valve. This one has two little quick ball valves in there. Hot water tank. One of these hoses might be leaking. Cold water supply going to the tank, and then hot water going out. Usually you see one here. You might not see one on the return to isolate the tank. This way I'd have to drain at least a part of the tank or the entire tank to get it out, or do some work on it. This is your exhaust going out. Okay, your flute breaching. Okay, just a tighter view of the gate valve there. You can see it's blue, cold water. Sometimes you need to shut off the water outside. Different locations have different ways to shut off the water. If you're lucky, you have a ball valve in the house, in some panel somewhere, and you want a qualified personnel to help you, whether it's a plumber, handyman, or maintenance that works on your site. Okay, you don't want to take this on your own, because this is too dangerous. You can try to shut off the water, and you can create more damage for yourself, where they're going to charge you thousands of dollars to rip out the meter and the valve and put one in, which you don't want, and you don't want to wait for them to tell you, well, it's going to take us 2 weeks to do it. And this is not something you want to touch, but knowing where it's at, if you have to call a plumber at nighttime, you can point him out in direction, and he'll shut it off for you. Okay. If they're in the house and they are a ball valve, then it's going to be a quarter turn, and it'll have little stops on it. Right here, these little stops where it can only go in a certain direction. This one goes this way, and as he says, on off. So there's a little stop there, metal stop here, metal stop here, and a brass tab. Okay. At least knowing where that location is good. In a lot of locations, you'll see maintenance, handyman, even plumbers use a key like this that has a little tab. This one I want to show you the tab on the next one. They'll have a little tab like this because they'll have a rectangular brass tab, usually one in front of me and the other side of the meter, and it's how you shut off and isolate the meter in case you got to change the meter. I'll go into your house. Other places, they have these in the basement. You'll see a pipe coming in, you'll see the water meter in the basement, and you don't need a key like this. You could use a channel lock or a crescent wrench or something like that, large enough that can help you turn it off. This was one I made after they told me that there was one location here they couldn't shut off, and I saw a plumber when they told him that he grabbed this, and I grabbed it out of his hand, looked at it, I said, "Did you make this?" He said, "Yes." "Thank you." The next day I went to the store, I made one. I had to use it once on the same exact valve that they said doesn't work. They tried the key one with the rebar set up, welded, and it's like took 3-4 guys and we couldn't barely turn it off. With this, I put my pipe wrench on there. It's an 1.25 inch pipe, galvanized pipe, in case anybody wants to know. It's not 1.5 inches, it's 1/4, which is what the plumber was using. So I grabbed that. It works perfectly on particular sites that I've been before. Okay. Toilet bottom of the toilet tank, and again another angle shut-off valve here. This one just happened to missing the key. This is the location for most of them. Some of them are directly behind the toilet, but they're almost always underneath the toilet. I don't think I've ever remember seeing a shut-off valve for a toilet on top anywhere. Might have been hidden back here, just barely into the tank. I think I might have seen that once or twice, but most of the time they're underneath, and most of the time they are visible. If this was a braided line and I had an emergency, I might pinch the sucker with a vice grip. Again, leaving a little gap so you're not trying to crush the whole thing, but you're just trying to get the water off. I have seen people do this on this particular one. Not recommended, but I'm going to show you a different way how to shut off the water on the toilet, which might be easier than doing something crazy like that. This is a fill valve, and it lets the water supply in your toilet, and it has a diaphragm here and a pin, and this little bar is about 3 inches long, goes up and down as this float over here on the bottom, the larger float on the bottom, goes up and down with the water level, and when it gets up, it shuts off the water flow. So I had a person call me in one of my previous locations, and well, I need to shut off the water, and I said, can you take the tank off, and you're going to see a bar that goes up and down next to a big round float, and it moves. If you push it with your finger, you tap it. If you pick it up, not forcing it up, just tap it up, it'll shut off the water. And she hung up she put the phone aside, boom, she got the water off, she popped it, came to me, well, thank you, I got the water off. And I said, well, you didn't get that much water damage. So that's another way to do it. You really don't want to do pinching that line. It's more advanced for people to know. Okay. You got some illustrations here. If you guys have any questions for me, well, I want to fix my pipes underneath my sink. Can I send you a picture? Yeah, send me a picture. Send me a few pictures. Send me a video if you want. I should be able to give you some sound directions, a little bit of advice, and with a little trial and error, you should be able to do fine. I've been known to get into an area where I've had other repairmen look at it and say, not me, and I know what to do. So, if you guys have any questions, you need a little help, just give me a shout out, and I'll see what I can do for you, okay? That's the Lightroom. Before I end this video, please understand this is not a definite end-all be-all video. It's just directions of what the valves might look like and how you turn them off. But for your location, if you want to do the right way, get qualified handyman, maintenance, or plumber, someone qualified to show you where your main valve is for the your entire location, your residence, or whether it's inside, outside. It is a bore valve. He can't exercise it. It does work. It doesn't work. It needs to be changed. Okay, this is something to think about prior to when you do have an emergency, whether it's hot water tank, a busted line, or something like that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and to the next one, I'll see you guys later. Bye.